I'm Larry Monroe, and I was on KUT for almost 30 years doing Blue Monday and film music. And now I'm at KBRP doing Blue Monday and film music and Texas Radio Live, which is every Wednesday at Warrows from 6 until 8. I'm a lifelong radio guy, and back in 1970 I was on the radio in Ann Arbor, Michigan, and I played a lot of local music, and one night I got a telephone call from Ted Nugent, and Ted said, "I want to be on your radio show." And I said, "Okay." So we arranged for me to go to his apartment so we could get to know each other a little bit before the program. And if you know anything about Ann Arbor, the University of Michigan is here. State Street runs north to south, in about 3 blocks south of campus. There's a diagonal cutter called Packard Street, and right in that little area there are a lot of businesses that cater to the university, including one of the best pizza joints in the world, Pizza Bob's. And Ted Nugent lived in an apartment house just south of that area, actually on Packard Street. So I went up to his house, to his door, and I knocked on it, and he came to the door, very flamboyant, and had a lot of young girls around his apartment that afternoon. Ted always did like young girls. And while I was there, he was really manic. Every time the phone would ring, he would snatch it up and he would say, "I don't take speed, I am speed." And he would tune around on the radio dial trying to find a DJ playing one of his songs. So a few days later we had the interview. He came out to the radio station, and you remember those little Ozona snuff cans? It was a little round aluminum can with a little oval hole on the side that you dip snuff out of. We had one of those at the radio station, and Ted was playing with it during the interview, and he accidentally popped it open, and all the snuff spilled out onto the counter. So what he did during the rest of the interview was he snapped the can back together, he took a matchbook cover, folded it in half so he had a little trough, and he scooped it up, and he poured that snuff back into the can through that little hole until he got it all back in the hole. During the interview I said, "Ted, you always brag about being an outdoorsman and a hunter and a farmer and all that, but I happen to know that you live on a slab of concrete just south of the University of Michigan campus." He said, "Man, I've been looking for a farm to buy and I just can't find one." A few minutes later the phone rang, and I was taking phone calls, and people were asking Ted questions on the air. This guy said, "Hey Ted, I got a farm I'll sell you." So I played a Ted Nugent record, and he talked to this guy on the phone, and he's writing stuff down furiously, and we finished the interview, and I don't see him for a while. And I just walked across the diag, which is the diagonal cutter to the University of Michigan, and I was walking up State Street, and here comes Ted Nugent with a little entourage of young girls. Ted always did like young girls. He had a scarf, and his hair was flowing behind him, and he was strutting down the street. And we passed each other, and just as we passed, we each looked around like this, and he pointed at me and he said, "Hey man, I bought that farm." And that's the last time I saw Ted Nugent.